Hey, this is Sarah Natochenny from Pokemon, and I'm hanging out here with Elias from the Man Cave Chronicles.
Welcome to another episode of the Man Cave Chronicles.
Welcome to the party, pal!
You're my boy, Blue!
Yo, Adrian!
A podcast with interviews of amazing guests from the world of pop culture.
Oh, yeah!
TV.
Nice!
Movies.
Oh, I love the movies!
Comedy and more. From deep inside the Man Cave, your host, Elias.
Sarah, welcome to the cave.
Hello, nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
How are you? What's new with you?
Oh, not too much, doing a little shopping. I have a lot of holiday parties this year, which is very nice. But I need outfits. So I'm hitting all the vintage stores and trying to put them together.
There you go. So you've been busy the last few years. You've voiced the Ash on Pokemon anime and films. You've also done a lot of voiceover for video games, and we'll talk about that. But I want the listeners to get to know a little bit more about you. Where are you originally from?
I'm originally from New York, from Forest Hills, Queens, and I went to Brooklyn Tech for high school. And yeah, never left New York, born and raised.
Oh, so you're still there?
Yep. Yeah, I split time between New York and LA now, but New York is my home.
Yeah,
It's a part of me.
Yeah. So you enjoy the cold weather?
Not so much, no. But I enjoy the indoors just fine, and I like to bundle up and go outside. So that's fine. Yeah.
So growing up in Queens, how was it?
Pretty normal life. I lived by the subway, so it's not like suburban Queens.
Okay.
I had access to the city. My mom was a Broadway violinist. She still works. So I was in the city a lot. I always had like this love for the city. It was pretty average. I didn't have one of those little Tykes cars, that red and yellow car, and that's something I lament often. But otherwise, it was pretty normal.
Yeah. What were you into as a kid growing up?
What was I into?
Yeah.
Pokemon, well, apart from Pokemon, not much. My parents were very much, they wanted me to be doing something pretty much at all times. I had schedules. So I was reading a lot. I was playing piano a lot. And I hated playing piano. I was doing gymnastics. They put me in gymnastics when I was like 4 years old. And I did that until I was 13. So every day after school, I was in the gym for 4 hours at least. And that was almost every day. Later in my, gymnastics career, it was every day. So that's kind of what I was into. I know I cut the hair off of Barbie once.
So I read online that you participated in the Junior Olympics for gymnastics.
Yeah,
I
did.
Tell us a little bit about that. Mm-hmm.
Well, I worked very, very hard, and I got into Junior Olympics. Our Region 4, I remember all this. This is crazy. Yeah. Was the first place champion. So our region in America was the best region. Yeah. And I competed in 4 elements, I want to say, and I won a bronze medal in rope. And that was the moment I told my mom, I'm done. Thank you very much. Here's your medal. Goodbye. I'd placed before, but like Junior Olympics was the ultimate thing you could do unless you really continued and became an Olympian, you know, which I was not going to do. So.
Yeah. What made you decide you just wanted to stop? You just weren't into it or did your parents try to push you more into it?
Oh yeah, no, they pushed me to do it for sure. And I don't blame them. I would probably do the same thing to my kid if I had one. It's amazing discipline. It's kept me in shape. I think the exercise that I did then has kept me in shape to this day. I don't really exercise, and I don't really look like I need to. Everybody needs to, but somehow my body just and I can still do splits. I can still do back bends. I can still do a lot of this stuff. So it's kind of amazing, and it taught me discipline and time management and. Going for it, even if you're not very good. I wasn't naturally that flexible. And they kept pushing me and saying, you're doing this. You can do it. I moved really well. I was elegant. I looked good. So they wanted me to do it. And I did, I guess I did well. In the end, I did well.
So how did you end up in the acting world then? What pushed you towards that?
After I quit gymnastics, my mom and dad were like, you're not sitting around. You're not going to become obsessed with video games. That's not our child. So they kind of scrambled and tried to figure out what I might enjoy and what I might be good at. And they settled on acting school. And I was like, yes, absolutely. I absolutely want to do that. I'd always been obsessed with movies and cartoons. I wanted to watch TV more than anything. I wanted to watch TV. I wanted to see plays. I loved it. My mom was on Broadway. I was obsessed with it. So they were like, okay, we'll put you in acting school. And I turned out to love it and, be good at it objectively. And
what were some of your
that's what I decided I wanted to do.
What were some of your favorite TV shows and movies growing up?
Oh, dear. Well, as a high school student, 6 Feet Under was the best show. I think it's probably my favorite show to this day. What else? Animation-wise, Daria was my favorite, adult animation. Growing up as a kid, I snuck a lot of TV. I snuck Doug, Rugrats, that whole block of Nickelodeon, at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
I would watch all that. I was watching all that and Keenan and Kel. I loved the sketch stuff. I loved SNL. I loved David Letterman. I was a very late night kid, and I still am. We have a late night family. So I was up watching David Letterman most of my childhood.
To this day, I think Letterman is still the king of late night.
Sorry, my cat just took my earbud out of my ear. What did you say?
I said to this day, I still think that Letterman was the best out of everybody in late night television.
I agree, the best. I miss him so much.
Yeah. So you also did a little bit of a UCB. Tell us about that. And performing on there.
I was auditioning a bunch, and I would run into some of the same people. And when I was 16 years old, I met this guy, Cody. I haven't talked to him in years, actually. And he's like, "You're funny. You should go do improv." I was like, "Okay." And I was just at an age where I was so great. I was just saying yes to everything. I'm like, "Let's do it. Great. Awesome." So I don't know if I run into some of the heads of UCB actually now. I just worked with Matt Walsh, and I told him "Oh man, I regret having started so young, because I basically had my college experience at UCB, and I cringe when I think about how probably not funny I was, and just how I was just probably very cringy. That's the new word you can use for that. And I was hanging out underage at the bar, and I wasn't really drinking, but I was just trying so hard to be funny and to be in with the cool kids. And I feel like I kind of failed at that. I don't know. I wish I had gone into it a little bit later. I still think about going back to class now and wondering what that would do to my mental health. I'm not sure that would be very good for me, but it's something I think about.
So how did you get into the whole Pokemon business? How did you fall into that? Because I read online also that you were very young when you got there, right?
Yeah, I was just out of high school.
Wow.
Well, I was auditioning. I had agents, I had a manager, and they sent me out on this one great audition out of many, but this one was just one that I happened to book. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have an in. I just happened to get it. It was great.
So when you got the part of Ash, how were you a huge Pokemon fan? You said growing up also.
Yeah. I mean, now that I meet huge Pokemon fans, I don't want to offend them and call myself a huge Pokemon fan, but I was watching this show every Saturday. Yeah.
So how exciting!
I had a deck of cards, but my parents weren't buying me everything. I didn't have plushies. I didn't have the video games for sure. So
how old were you? You said 16 or 17 when you got the part?
No, I got the part. I was 18 or 19.
Okay. So how exciting was that when you got the part?
Phenomenally exciting. It was great.
Wow.
It was the biggest thing I've gotten. I think that's the biggest thing I've gotten since. That's it's one of the biggest things you could get. It's one of the biggest shows in the world.
Do you remember your audition?
If I beat it, that'd be cool. Do I remember the audition?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. It was. It felt like the worst audition of my life, actually, because I didn't realize that it was a dub. I didn't know what that was. I didn't realize cartoons could even be made that way. So they taught me how to dub at my audition.
Oh, wow.
I didn't understand how you could possibly look at a screen and look at the page at the same time. I didn't understand why I wasn't getting the script ahead of time. yeah, it was a very it's a very strange experience auditioning for dubs. It's different from anything else.
So when you got the role, how did you prepare for it? Like, what kind of research did you do?
Well, luckily, I knew what it was, and I say luckily because the audition was on a Monday, and I did not turn the page of my calendar until that morning, and I kind of forgot that I had the audition.
Wow.
I haven't done that since. I've been very, very careful. I learned my lesson. But that morning I turned the page and my heart sank, and I ran to my friend's house, and I'm like, I got to sound like this person. I have to be Ash Ketchum. Let's become Ash Ketchum. Yes. And she told me that I sounded nothing like the character, and that I would not be booking the role that day. And I was sad because I trusted her. And then I went in and auditioned, and they taught me how to dub at my audition. And I didn't really see that at the time as a positive thing. Like, usually if they ask you to do it again, if they start working with you, if they start teaching you how to do your job at your audition, that's actually a very good sign. That means that they like you enough to want to find out more about you, like how you work and if you're cool and whatever, but also that you do sound like this person, that you may be somebody they want to hire, and let's see what she can do with a little bit of direction, you know? I didn't see it that way. I left the audition crying. I'm like, I didn't know what I was doing. They hate me. Cool. Oh, geez. But, you know, we all know how that ended up.
How many days after till you got the phone call?
That I don't remember.
Okay.
There must have been a few callbacks.
Okay.
I don't remember what happened after that. My biggest memory is the audition, and then walking out and feeling horrible about it.
Oh, wow. And
then getting it, that's not something I remember that well at all.
Yeah. So the anime series has been going on for 22 seasons in the U.S. Like, can you believe it? It's been going on that long. And how many more years do you see it going?
Forever.
Yeah. Are you hoping forever? Or you think it's going to be forever?
Both.
Yeah.
Both. I don't see a reason for it to end.
Okay.
I don't really see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a show that was designed for longevity.
So when you're doing the voiceover and you're doing the different scenes, is there like certain scenes you find more difficult to record than others?
Not really. When I do battles, if it's like all that, if I look at an episode and it's all battle, I'm like, okay, thank you, can't win.
Yeah.
Because you're yelling a lot. You're just kind of yelling a lot. But otherwise, no. No, I don't think. Across all my voiceover jobs, I don't feel like there's anything harder than anything else. As long as you place your character in a comfortable place in your voice, I think you're fine. But if you do a character that hurts, I mean, A, don't design it that way, and B, don't design it that way. Just don't do it.
Yeah. Now, you've done other voices for Pokemon. Which ones have been your other favorite ones that you've done?
Baneri.
Why is
Baneri
that?
is my favorite Pokemon. Oh my God, Baneri is so cute. Are you kidding me? Baneri's the cutest. Yeah. So cute. I love doing Baneri. That's it, probably.
So when you get
and Ash's mom is fun.
Yeah, so like
she's so different, and I get to do scenes with myself.
So how do you do that exactly when you're doing like scenes with like the same? When you voice the same, like a few different characters in one scene? Yeah.
We record one character at a time.
Okay.
So I go down the line with Ash, and then I go down the line with Delia.
Gotcha. Now, I gotta ask, do you play Pokemon Go? Did you get addicted to the game when it came out with the cell phone and everything?
Maybe. Yes.
Yeah. Do you still play it?
Yes, very addicted.
I know people that still play it. They'll put their kids in the car and they travel everywhere.
Yeah. No, I still walk around with it. Not every time. So my iPhone 10 broke, and then I was back on my 6S because I didn't want to buy another iPhone, and it wouldn't work on that 6S because it was a very broken 6S, and I walked around like that for like a year, and then I finally got a new phone, and I have it on that phone. But since I'm not so, 1 second, I'm sorry, decline. Since I'm not as obsessed with it.
Yeah.
I feel like, and I'm taking more calls as I walk now. That's become more of my obsession. Just catch up with friends and talk to friends. That's kind of what I've been doing more.
So,
but sometimes if I'm not talking to anybody, I might be playing Pokemon Go.
Yeah, there you go. Do you have a favorite episode that you recorded that you enjoy?
Yes. There's an episode in XY or XYZ, episode 1928. I remember that because it's my grandma's birth year, where Ash is in a cave and he rescues a bunch of Pokemon from the snow, and he rescues one from a tree, and he gets into a fight with Serena. So much happened in that episode, and it was so emotional and just a total roller coaster, and I love that episode. It's my favorite one.
Now, have you done the Comic Cons to meet the fans for Pokemon?
I've done the Comic Cons. I've done the Meet the Fans.
Yeah, how's that?
Pretty great. It's very fun. It's sometimes it's awkward, and sometimes you never really know what you're gonna get, because like a parent will come up to you with their child.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, "This is the voice of Ash Ketchum," and some kids are like, "Prove it," and they make me do the voice, and then they're like, "Nah." It's like standing. It's like a little Simon Cowell in front of you, being like, "Nah, not so good. Maybe next," you know.
Yeah.
But sometimes kids are really excited, and oftentimes they like try to contain their excitement, and then they walk away from me, and then they kind of explode. It's really funny.
But it must be fun. It must be fun meeting the little kids that are really into it.
Oh, so fun! It's so fun. I didn't really do much of it in the beginning, and now that I've started doing more of it, I started recognizing what kind of a power I have to just by existing make somebody so happy. That's really the best part of the job.
Yeah.
Is having that.
So I also heard you do some impressions.
I do some impressions.
Yeah. Which ones are your favorites?
Oh God. Oh dear. I don't really do much of them, honestly. I don't know if I would put this in. Yeah, I don't really do much of it. I did. Well, who did I do on my character? Really, it was Natalie Portman. This was like 6 years ago or something.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I saw that. Yeah.
I do Minnie Mouse. I do a good Minnie Mouse.
Oh yeah.
But they just recast it. And I didn't get it. I would cut this whole portion out. Let's not talk about it. Let's not talk about it.
So
if that's okay.
So how did you get involved with the video game voiceover?
The same way. The director and the producers who worked at our studio also produce other stuff. And they would just call me in for auditions, and I would book them.
Yeah. What's the difference between voicing video games and voicing like anime and films?
Yeah. Video games are typically a bit more strenuous. And in video games, I have not done a video game where I'm actually talking to another person in the room.
Oh wow!
So it's just a list of your lines, and you go through them three different ways. You just go boom, 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 and then you do reacts like grunts, like die, you know, the whole thing. And then you take a break, and then you do more. But you could have like 400 cues in a day.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So what do you enjoy more? Like, do you like auditioning in front of people, or do you like doing the self-tape?
Sure. Oh, that's a good question. I prefer going in, because when you go in, it's over very, very quickly. When I do it at home, I pour over it. I'm like listening for every little thing, and I'll like retake a little section of it. And I don't think I do as well with the home records, because I'm such a perfectionist, and like everything kind of needs to be done. I'm working on it. This is a hard thing to get over when you're a perfectionist. In the room, they can direct you.
Yeah.
They can tell you what they want, or they can tell, at least like when a lot of the auditions happen at the agency. So it's someone who knows you, like the guy who records me. He knows me, and he knows everybody, and he knows what everybody's doing, and he knows the client. I'm sure oftentimes the client doesn't know what they want, but he knows how it should sound, so he can direct you to sound as, you know, to give a safe, good audition. When I do it at home, I I do my own I do my own research regardless where I do the audition, but I do my own research and I'm like, okay, I want to give them something totally out of the box, something that's just like all me. And I want to give them something that's like part me and also what they probably want. And then I just want to give them the standard read of like what I expect them to want.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So what's next for you? What's in sight for 2020?
Oh, a bunch of things. I can't really talk about them because none of them have been released yet, but a bunch of things are getting released in 2020 that I'm very excited about.
Yeah. Is there any other,
any
other projects you can give us a tease about?
Well, the new Pokemon movie is going to come out eventually. I don't know when exactly. There's no release date, but it's a CGI remake of the first movie, so it's going to be pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
do you have a bucket list for 2020 or that you want to accomplish?
Oh, yeah. I don't want to say so much because I'm a little bit superstitious about talking about things that haven't happened yet.
Yeah.
I did meet a sloth the other day at the Staten Island Zoo, and I got to pet this sloth. His name is Duncan, and Duncan changed my life. I have never felt joy quite like that, except the time I beat my little cousin at Monopoly. He's very, very good at Monopoly, and I beat him. And
Wow.
that brought me great joy.
Yeah.
But the sloth thing, that was really epic.
So, what's a fun fact about you that you want the listeners to know that they don't know that they don't know about you?
Ooh, fun fact. I can give you a boring fact. I love classical music. Is that fun?
If it's fun for you, it's fun for you, right?
It's fun for me. I like to compare different interpretations of the same piece of music.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I do to relax.
So, lastly, how can the listeners find you on social media?
Literally just search my name. I'm on all social media. I'm mostly active on Instagram because I like the pictures and the videos. Sarah Natochenny.
All right.
Search me. I'm active. I talk to people. I respond to comments. It's fun.
That's awesome.
I probably spend too much time on it, but no, that's a bit of a resolution. Spend a little bit less time on social media.
Sarah, thank you for coming on. This was fun.
Yeah, it's so fun. Thank you so much.
That's a wrap. That's a wrap, everybody. That's a wrap.
Thanks for listening to the Man Cave Chronicles podcast.
I finally get my man cave.
You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at the MCC Podcast and our website, themccpodcast.com. Until next time.